program was recorded at RILA's annual logistics conference in Orlando, Florida. I'm pleased to welcome Editor-in-Chief of Supply Chain Brain, Russell Goodman.
Cross-channel retail logistics. Joining us to speak about that today is Bob Heaney, Senior Research Analyst, Supply Chain Management, Aberdeen Group. Welcome, Bob.
Thank you, Russell.
Bob, today's cross-channel retail environment is rapidly changing. What do you attribute that to?
Well, we've seen several things kind of encapsulate that whole area. With the advent of the internet, the dot-com era, we saw a lot of changes in the marketplace. Most recently, you may have seen Walmart's recent announcements in January of this year, where rippling of announcements came out regarding the advent of the internet and the growth that they're seeing in that segment, 20% plus growth per year. As a result of that, several changes were made in the organization, one of which was to align the domestic internet fulfillment arm underneath the logistics component within an organization within Walmart.
Well, what would you say then are the primary challenges and pressures that the retailers are facing?
Well, there's a variety of things that come with online ordering. First of all, the outbound profile is entirely different in that in many cases you're delivering straight to the consumer, whereas in a traditional brick and mortar store or Walmart store, as you know, it's truckload from a DC to the store, it's unloaded, it's put on the shelf, and it's sold there. So as a result of that, there are several challenges on the outbound side as far as the form and format from both transportation and logistics standpoint. Additionally, on the inbound side, because the online channel has a depth and a breadth of product lines that aren't even offered in the store. There is the whole inbound supply chain. How do you handle that? Do you do store direct or retail direct to the end consumer from your supplier? Do you go flow through a distribution point, et cetera?
Bob, I would imagine that viewers are saying, well, listen, I want to know, as Bob canvasses the retail industry, what are the strategies and the tactics that he sees retailers adopting to deal with this issue?
Well, first of all, in the Aberdeen framework where we do our research, we find that companies are feeling pressure around the fact that there's a dichotomy in the supply chain between these different formats. So when you look at brick and mortar versus online, this dichotomy was addressed largely in the past by farming out the newer components to other parties that might be able to perform that work. So in the beginning, you saw a lot of companies that would outsource components of the supply chain around this. Recently, and like the announcement we just talked about with Walmart, we're seeing a reversal of that trend, where companies are not only absorbing the online merchandising, the front end and the back end of the experience, but they're also handling the logistics internally and realizing there are synergies between the logistics direct to consumer as well as through the traditional channels.
Let's explore just as far as we can now what the leading retailers are doing to leverage their supply chain processes to support cross-channel logistics.
Well, first and foremost, a lot of companies are taking a component of their product line and are doing vendor direct shipments, whether that be to the store or in some cases that may be straight to the consumer. Other companies have taken that another step, whereby depending on the economics of the situation, they're actually bringing that product in through a distribution flow point prior to it going to the store or the consumer. So for instance, cross-docking and break bulk facilities, or flowing it through one of their traditional DCs.
Well, Bob, we're talking about leveraging capabilities, utilizing assets, and I just wonder if we're talking about only the largest of retailers. For instance, what does a smaller company do if it doesn't have the kind of budget, to invest in the sort of thing that we're talking about?
Okay, very good question. Well, a lot of things that we're finding in the research and in the models of the best in class that come out of the research is, again, it's not just your internal core competencies within your organization, but it's the partnerships that you're able to form across the extended supply chain. So Walmart, again, for an example, has components of their supply chain that are outsourced to third-party providers. These types of providers are equipped to handle the specific logistics challenges within a cross-segment component of the supply chain. And so sometimes by partnering with them, you can extend your capabilities both from a systems as well as a product flow standpoint to accommodate the unique nuances of a given channel.
Bob, we want to look prospectively now. It appears that somewhat of an economic recovery is afoot. As we go forward, what kind of advice do you have for companies to support the cross-channel activities that we've been discussing here?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because Aberdeen is also doing research around that very topic as we speak. We have a report that we'll publish at the end of April that deals with all the topics that we're talking about, retail logistics and the cross-channel supply chain. And what we're learning from that and going to be asking the users around that question is, we know and we've seen a trend to address process first, followed by management development or people, and then third, technology. So around those core components of focus and actions that companies are taking, what can companies do to expand their process? Well, process typically does require you have the right people. So even though people might be second as far as what people rank, it's a given that good people can define the right process, whether that be collaborating with a third party, bringing in-house more volume, utilizing your fleet better, a variety of different angles that we're going to be studying in this upcoming benchmark report that I think will give a lot of insight to the challenges, and as the economy rebounds, companies then will have an arsenal of options hopefully to pick from.
Well, Bob, that's good advice as we go forward. Thank you for being with us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Russell.
Bob Heaney, Aberdeen, speaking with us today about cross-channel retail logistics. Thank you for watching.